Welcome everyone to the DIDI open house. It's a bit different this time around since we're doing it online. So bear with us if anything goes funky. Today we have a bunch of people to speak to you all. So first off, we have our Dean, Hani Asfour.
Hi, everyone.
And we also have Hammad Khan from Accenture, who'll be talking to us a little bit about design careers and that sort of thing. And we also have our faculty here as well. Carlos, Noreen, Simone, Renata. I'm not sure if there's anyone else here that I'm missing. And we also, Rafi's here. And we also have a few of our students as well. So we're gonna start off with Hani, and then from then on, towards the end, everyone else will have some time to ask any questions, anything you'd like to know about DIDI, the student experience, admissions, just let us know, alrighty?
Yeah, thanks, Razan. Welcome, everyone. So happy to see you all here virtually and excited to see new faces and tell you about what we've been doing. It's been really an exciting journey. We are not even finished with our second year, and what the students have done is testimony to the vision that we are trying to achieve, which is basically to future-proof the next generation, prepare you for an amazing future. What I'm going to do is show slides. I promise they won't be boring. I'll show slides of the way we think, the way we thought about the school, the kinds of programs we offer. And then the second half of the presentation would be student work. So for the faculty who are joining me, maybe Carlos and Rafi, you can talk about the foundation studios. Noreen, you can speak about the fashion. Hinata, you can speak about the multimedia. And then we can leave it to the students to talk about their work, and also we have Hammad. We don't want to steal your thunder. He's from Accenture Interactive, which we've been doing a lot of work with them recently. And basically, I'd love for Hammad to have the floor for a while to tell you that the industry, like Accenture, is actually keen on working with people who have graduated from DIDI. So without much ado, I welcome you all, and I'm going to share my slides at the moment. So I trust you can see future-proofing the next generation. Yeah, everyone can see that? Yeah, nodding, good. So basically today we believe that design matters more than ever, especially in the fourth industrial revolution when everything human is designed. And our challenge is to make the everything human meaningful and everything human actually sustainable and circular, and actually thinking about the future of the world, thinking about healthcare, especially in those times. And so we believe that designers are at the core of the fourth industrial revolution. And if you're not sure what the fourth industrial revolution is, it's basically where we are today in terms of the industrial history of where the world has become. And I'll quickly, honestly, explain it. So the way that we look at the world is that the first industrial revolution happened with the invention of the steam engine, and then mass production happened. Then we started bringing in electricity, some energy that changed from steam, and then from that we went into the internet age with digitization and basic robots replacing human labor. And today we are in the artificial intelligence, where machines are about to replace human thinking as well. And when we look at it from a human perspective, with the advance of the mass production, we started building our relationships based on commodities, and we started demanding that they get serviced. And then we started asking for these services to be experiences. It's like, think of buying coffee from Starbucks. You're willing to pay, I don't know, 20 dirhams for a cup of coffee, when, you know, a cup of coffee shouldn't be 20 dirhams, but you're paying for the experience, for the consistency of the experience, for the quality, for the chance to sit there and actually work. And so that's the price of the coffee. It's not just the coffee itself, which is a commodity, but now it's become an experience. Drinking coffee is moved into an experience. And in the future, or where we are today, we're seeking not just good experiences, we're seeking fulfilling experiences, which explains why this generation, we tend to look at this generation and we tell, oh, you guys are so privileged, you're always entitled to these things. Well, because this generation expects to receive fulfilling experiences, which in our definition is actually taking care of each individual's well-being, which in a way is what a Fitbit does, right? If you wear a Fitbit, it's telling you about the steps you've taken, your heart rate, individual vital statistics, and not giving you general ideas. So this is why it's important today. And if we look at the way we design anything in the world, we need to make sure that it's profitable, and that's why a lot of people go to business school and where they teach you how to make money, and you go to engineering school to learn how to make things, and you measure that success based on whether the product works or not. However, if you think about it, it's not satisfactory, it's not fulfilling just to have these two. What's missing is the qualitative experience, which is making that experience desirable. And this is where design comes in. So the designers are driven by actually moving people, making people have an emotional connection with the experience. So it's meaningful for them. We're not thinking about the money as much as thinking about the feasibility. We need those things for it to work. Our focus is how do you make it meaningful for humans? How do you make technology useful for humans? How do you make it connect with them emotionally? And today, the power of design, and Hammad can talk to you about that, is that we're changing the conversation in the marketplace from businesses thinking about themselves making money and shifting that power to the user, where the power of the user, where the user becomes productive and where the user becomes efficient from an engineering perspective. Let me give you a more tangible example. For instance, I provide you with these two cars, same marketing strategy, same target audience, and in terms of engineering specs, they're all more or less identical with a few minor things, but they're very much in the same category. So when the engineering plateaus and the marketing plateaus, the only differentiator is going to be not how or what is made. You don't choose the car based on this anymore as much as based on this, which is the front end, where you interface with the machine, where your connection with the machine becomes super important. And the same thing with the phones. Even if you look at these two phones, they are marketed in the same way. They are photographed in the same way. They also have abstract images in the same way. And basically, the last time you did this, you lost the warranty. You don't look at the engineering to decide on the phone. They're pretty much the same. You make the choice on how you feel about the brand, how you feel about the product, how you connect with it, how it makes you look, what it says about you. It's a very emotional decision that you make, which is what the power of designers are. And here's an example. If you invest in the S&P index, you're going to make a good chunk of money after 10 years. However, if you invest in the companies that follow the design index, which put design at the forefront of their business, the value is exponentially more. So this is the power of design. We know that design is actually a major driver for economies, and especially for this stage in our economy, the creative economy. Because design actually bridges between strategy and technology. It actually makes strategy meaningful and makes technology desirable. And because we humanize it. Design humanizes technology, makes innovation visible. You can have the world's greatest idea, but if you cannot visually communicate that idea, it's a useless idea. That's the power of design and design skills that we teach. And design makes digital experiences desirable because now they are humanized. What we need to do is future-proof the next generation. This is our charge. So the students who are listening to me and the parents who are listening to me, you are giving us a very big responsibility. You are charging us with future-proofing the next generation. And this is how we do it. So we start by understanding that blockchains and robots will soon be the norm. And we are very serious about future-proofing our students. When we know that 85% of tomorrow's jobs don't yet exist. And there are so many statistics out there about this. This is from Dell. There are so many. This is the one we picked because we feel that so many jobs don't exist. So we started researching what kinds of jobs can designers do in the future. And one of the ones we found is augmented reality designer. Another is a chief drone experience designer. I'll just share here a moment just to lighten up the mood a bit. We've all heard about, drones delivering our goods. We've all heard about that technologically it's feasible, and Amazon is excited about it because they cut down on wages, on employees, they make things more efficient. But I want you to think of it from a human perspective. Have you ever imagined being chased by a drone with a package that they're about to drop on you? You're running around this thing, buzzing around, and it's a scene from a horror film, if you think about it. So nobody's really thought about the human dimension of the drone. The same thing with embodied technology designers. We have all these devices that are going to be in our body, and already in Sweden, they're implanting chips in hands where you can do a lot of the basic transactions that your phone can do, including Google Pay and Apple Pay and all those things. So who's going to develop the interface? How do you interface with that technology? Remember, it's going to be in your skin. The Internet of Things conductor, 3D printed textiles, human organ designer, and this means working with an organization, institution like medical people. So we work a lot with MBRU, which is the medical Hammad bin Rashid University for Medical Studies in Dubai. So we're working a lot of things with them. We haven't reached this level, but we imagine this will be soon something we can work on together. Chief Design Officer, Peter Schreier moved from Audi to Kia, and look at Kia today. Kia is winning one award after another. They've totally transformed themselves. So what we need to do is avoid redundancy of our students, of our graduates, when they come out, so they're not replaced by robots. And basically, when we know that 50% of jobs in the next few years will be replaced by machines, and this is from McKinsey. And so what we need is combinatory education. And when we spoke with Google, and Google said, look, we're looking for people with multiple skills, what we call at DIDI hybrid skills. So hybrid skills, you can see them immediately in even our name. So it's Dubai Institute of Design and Innovation. And we've actually built the curriculum with the world's #1 university, MIT, which I feel privileged because I'm a graduate of that university. We have another professor who's an MIT graduate as well. And we did the curriculum also with the #1 design university in the US. And these are from the statistics world rankings from 2020, US World University Rankings. So we're in a very, we're in very good company, and we have a big vision. And MIT and Parsons is very excited to see how we're doing it, because they both told us they cannot do what we're going to do because they are established and we are starting from scratch. So we have this opportunity to rethink the approach. So design and innovation is our first level of hybridization. It's not just design, it's not just innovation, it's the combination. And the way we see it is that this is our DNA, which is form making and future making. So we're creating how to make new things and how to make those new things solve the problems of the future. This is our DNA. And our DNA is actually made of 3 big ideas, which is visual literacy, which is where we learn the design skills, the visual skills, technological fluency, so everyone needs to be aware and in harnessed the new technologies that we have, and strategic proficiency to think like entrepreneurs, to think like people who are going to solve social issues at a larger scale. And inside these things, we have what we call the 4 C's. So we teach students how to conceptualize ideas, communicate complex ideas, craft them, meaning making. And today we have Simone with us, who is the manager of the Fab Lab. And if we have time, we'll talk about the making culture that we're generating. And for me, the most important C is the caring, like being empathetic with other people, being empathetic to our planet, thinking sustainably, thinking about saving the world and solving wicked problems, the complex problems. So this is at the core of everything that we do. Every course that we teach must meet those criteria that you see on the screen. Visual, technological, strategic, concept, communication, and care. This is our DNA. This is the core of our courses. We offer 4 disciplines. And we pick those disciplines because they don't exist in strength in the region. So we either want to strengthen the offering in the region, or we want to introduce something that no one is doing. And the reason is we don't want to compete with other universities. We want to complement and deliver what's missing and what's needed in the region. So product design, multimedia design, which is anything screen-based design, human interaction, fashion design, and the way we look at fashion is differently. Noreen, who is joining us today, she's the guru in sustainable fashion. And then we have strategic design management, which is the business side of design. Now, when we apply it and we look at the future jobs that we looked at, and some of them, you can see them listed here in a radial fashion, you will notice that immediately that those traditional way of thinking about design actually excludes these from the graduate. If you graduate with a product design degree, you won't be able to go into these future fields that we've identified. And that's why after the first year, and this week we'll be helping the students to choose which 2 to combine. So we're hybridizing now at the second level, which is bringing in students choosing 2 different disciplines and combining them to create a new one. And what's fascinating is that now we are actually including all the new skills that are needed for these students to be snapped up when they graduate. And hopefully Hammad
Question.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you catch me up, please? I kind of like joined in a little late. What we talk about?
We're talking about how students need to combine 2 disciplines in order to be future ready.
Okay.
Okay, so these are so on the outer in the circle, we see the future jobs, and in the colors, we see the combinations that now allow the students to work in these different fields. So for example, if you combine product and multimedia, you can do IoT furniture. If you do product and fashion, you can do wearables. And these are just examples. Multimedia and fashion, you can do interactive clothing. Multimedia strategy, you can do blockchain interaction, which is very big in the UAE because UAE is shifting to blockchain technologies in all the government circles. Fashion and strategy, how to become an ethical fashion designer, and chief design officer, like the one we looked at, is combining strategy and product, and et cetera, et cetera. So this is what's powerful about the hybridization of education. The other thing is that, of course, we teach students design thinking, and it is the key to innovation. This is, you need to think like a designer in order to differentiate your product from any other product, because it starts with empathy. So on the left, you will see the first one in empathy. So we teach students how to empathize, how to identify problems, how to ideate them, how to prototype them, how to test them, and then how to iterate, how to continue this process in a circular way in order to reach empathetic solutions. Now, what's interesting is that after teaching it for a while, we discovered that when we teach them empathy, we're teaching them how to be tolerant, how to accept the other, how to listen, and to identify problems. We were teaching them how to think critically. And ideate, we're teaching them how to collaborate, which is an art. It's not easy to collaborate. There are requirements for collaboration, starting with trust. When you prototype, we're teaching them how to communicate complex ideas visually. And when we're testing, we're teaching them how to listen and the humility to receive feedback. This is so important. And we teach that from the beginning. And then how to iterate is how to persevere in the face of failure, because failure is very important for learning and improving your product. So these are the things that we teach them. And what we discovered is that we're not only teaching them the hard skills of the design world, we're teaching them the soft skills, which are the life skills, which make them lifelong learners and lifelong workers and lifelong seekers of building their skills. And complex problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity, which are basically foundational in the way we teach, have been identified by the World Economic Forum as the top 3 skills needed to succeed in the 4th industrial revolution. That brings back to where we started. Now, basically, when we are being asked to do technology, and we're being asked to do that all the time, and when we're asked to do advancement and do innovation, what we're missing is what we call the left side of the equation, which is making humanized technology, which is making meaningful advancement, and which is making desirable innovation. And this is what we focus on at the idea. We focus on the left side of the equation, which will help us to get closer to the fulfillment that this generation is seeking. So this is the beginning of the big introduction to our big ideas. And just to give you an idea about our students, our faculty, we have 81 students with 22 nationalities. And we have actually faculty from all over the world, from Canada, Colombia, Brazil, the UK, Armenia, Lebanon, from Zimbabwe, and Italy, of course. I was beginning to show you our student work. I hope you can see this. Really beautiful work where they had to analyze systems and translate them into rules, and then the rules to create drawings. Some of them, I'll be quick, and then I'll let the faculty at some point come back. And here you can see that Silsal picked up on them and created new series of coffee cups, gift items. And in every box, the students got their name and photograph talking about their project. So we did a project with Vitra, which is one of the top manufacturers of chairs. They're based in Switzerland. And these are some of the work. We did the same thing this year with Herman Miller, which also, these are some of the student work entirely in the first year of design. We did at least 16 collaborations with different companies. Today we have Hammad from Design Interactive, Accenture Interactive, which is lower left. And this is the project we did with MBRU that Carlos led. We're doing costumes with Expo 2020. Noreen is leading on that one. Our students with, here they are with Sejal and Rafi, first year students who actually showcased their work at Gitex, which is the premier innovation technology event in the UAE. And in the class, which we call the workshop, they learn about making form using different machines and tools. And basically, you can see the level of making, and we switch between digital and manual. So they actually make it digitally and manually. This is a digital formation, and then we translate them into games. And the gamification becomes an event, which is all the students showcase the games that they did and people attend. And this is a form of assessment as well. We don't have exams in the workshop, but we have showcases where students show off and explain their work to colleagues, to peers, to outside guests as well. They learn how to use machinery. This is CNC milling. They learned how to use coding, which is grasshopper code on the left, to create different surfaces and different techniques, whether laser printing on the left, which is additive, or subtractive, which is CNC milling on the right. We learn about making our own bioplastics. We develop our own recipes to be sensitive about the environment. These are all biodegradable. They're all made of biological and food products, and we test them on different types of surfaces. We learn about cutting using foam cutters, and we can do complex forms with them and modularity. We learn about making in 3D, different kinds of possibilities of using 3D. And we learn about robotics, where we actually create robots, and the students had to create, and they are making this here, robotic pets, which basically look like this. And again, instead of an exam, we have a day where people come and visit and meet the petting zoo of the different pets that the students create. What's interesting is that that wasn't the creative part of our work. The creativity is happening is in the studio, where students learn to solve complex problems. This is Abdulaziz, sorry, from Saudi Arabia. He created a wristband for the blind. This is the prototype, which helps the blind be guided without using any cane. It's actually a wristband eventually that will become. Here you have Shama working with materials to create insoles for different materials, and Sana creating a device that suppresses human taste. Ahsan creating a shoe that enhances human foot sensations when you're walking, etc., etc. These are some of the students' work. 360-degree mask to hear all your bodily sounds, and to understand the effect of time and aging on a human body. Additional, this is Yang Kai's project for extending a sense of smell, I believe, and also is from Mariam, creating an additional skin that responds to proximity. And basically here we have another project which extends the human with the mirrors. You get to see different viewpoints, and I let the faculty talk about them at length. This is a typical presentation where we have all the work displayed, the faculty and their guests sitting, and the students presenting their work. It's quite an organized event. It's usually a whole day event where students have a chance to express their ideas. They learn presentation skills and complex visualizations of their ideas. We have guests as professor from the American University of Sharjah. This is a practicing designer, and then the faculty. And we learn the art of listening, the art of explaining, and the art of receiving feedback and responding. These are another two students, Aditi and Maha, where they created a virtual world where they actually combined it with a seat. And this is the professor from AUS who was swallowed by this chair. I'm joking, it's fine. But the chair responds to the zombies in the film. And these are students, Rafif, Alhan, and Mona, presenting their deployable structure, which is basically very light structure that can be deployed into a shelter in 3 seconds, and it actually works. What's beautiful about this project, not only the level of the work that they did and the quality of the drawings and the laser cutting, they actually customized all the pieces that go into it. So nothing was bought, they actually designed all the pieces. You can see the joints here on the right. And basically what's beautiful for me about this project is how many times they failed in order to reach that level of sophistication and success. And we encourage failure. This is Nicholas presenting his Anakin project, which is a robot that roves around and discovers garbage, sucks it up, and then reproduces it into a 3D printed item. The proof of concept works, the robot moves around, it can suck up material and can 3D print, but of course it needs a lot of work. Remember, these are first year students doing incredible work. We ask our students to keep a digital logbook of all the work that they've done. This is Nicholas's, and they keep track of all the things that they have done. This project is designing a skin by Naif and Noor, two Emiratis who designed a skin that responds to heat and light for a building. And they actually created all the materials themselves, and there are no components that rust. So they created a snap-on structure, modular structure that can be easily built by anyone and easily replaced if something breaks down. And it has these sensors and motors that allow the skin to breathe And what's amazing is that it was selected by the Global Grad Show. We're so excited about this because the Global Grad Show is an international show that picks the best design projects from graduating students. And these are first-year students. They have 3 more years in our school. And we were so excited and honored that they made it there. We have in the product design studio, the students designed, this is by Sana, she designed a mouse that responds to the chemicals, the hormones that the hand releases when we are stressed, and then and it's digitized and it works, so the screen actually responds to the stress. So you can program the computer to do whatever you want it to do when it senses that you are stressed. You can see it actually works technologically. This is by Nicholas again. He created a device for the blind to be able to appreciate art by translating color into sound. So the painting becomes heard, and the opposite is true, where you can create a painting by creating sound. This is actually, it actually works. It's quite empathetic, empathizing with the blind and actually creating a device for them to sense art. And this is by Aditi. She's created a device that responds to your circadian rhythm, which allows you to actually improve your sleeping habits and your habit to look at the phone at night. So it practically swallows your phone at night until you are ready. I will give the mic to Noreen. Are you still there, Noreen? If you can talk about Dania and Amal's work, please.
Yes, okay, great.
Just tell me next when to move the slide, yeah.
Okay, so this is Amal's project. Amal's actually joining us today, so if any of you are interested to find out more about how we teach fashion at DIDI, you can ask me, but you can also ask Amal and Dania, who I believe are joining us today, so you can hear from the students themselves. But this was Amal's project from Studio, and in Studio we focus on developing conceptual contemporary fashion design. And Amal for this project was exploring this idea of I mean, I don't know if I'm going to explain it as well as now I know she's listening to me, but she was exploring this idea of a grief for our planet and how can we explore that through contemporary fashion. And so she did that partly through materials, and she actually grew her own kombucha leather. So this darker color that you see there is her own fabric that she has literally grown herself. And this is something we really explore within our fashion studies, is thinking differently about materials for the future. And then she explored that with, you know, this whole kind of concept of how we can integrate these new materials into these garments with a kind of conceptual framework. So maybe if we move to the next project now. And this is Dania's project. And her concept was really rooted in what Hani mentioned earlier around this idea that we want to train designers that actually care. And so she was actually thinking about the poorest in society, the people that we don't see. And she was reimagining a world where we reverse those hierarchies and where we actually have compassion for those that are poorest in society and we actually see them in another way. And so she created these designs. She was also using upcycling, so using garments and things that we might sort of throw away, using them integrated with new designs. And yeah, so these are two of the, you know, the strongest projects, and you can obviously ask questions of myself or Dania and Amal later on.
Thank you, Noreen. And we move to the workshop. Back to you, Noreen. No, come back.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So in the workshop, we actually explore sort of a different way of designing, which is actually through making, and we explore different ways of making. So here, this is Parvan's project. And you can see here the various fabric manipulations that she explored, as well as unmaking old garments and then reinventing them, and showing new ways to be inspired really through kind of hands-on making. So we also do a lot of kind of skill-based explorations you know, we're trying to get this kind of sweet spot between the traditional and fundamental skills that you need for fashion design, as well as understanding the emerging technologies and how they can play a part in the future of fashion. So Parvan's project here, you can see, I hope you can see this kind of hybrid of playing with different types of illustration techniques, as well as playing with what our ideas about clothing could be in the future. Is there
Thanks, Noreen.
Or is that it?
Fantastic. Yeah, that's it.
So in this project, sorry, I just have to remember the video. Yeah, so in this project, Nikolic was also interested in connecting digital and physical media. And so here, using infrared sensors, he was exploring an interface that could be manifested in a 3D web environment and also in an LED cube simultaneously. So it was very interesting how he was able to connect virtual reality with a sort of physical three-dimensional display.
Awesome. Thank you, Sejal. And now, Renata, your turn.
Yes. Okay, this is a work by Abdel Rahman, the one on the left, and he was exploring the dimensions of black holes, and he was trying to come up with ways that we could have an experience that will allow us to poetically see how light is diffracted in black holes. So he used some data sets that come from NASA, and he reworked the visualizations to come up with a sculpture that is this one that you're seeing. That's a light sculpture that's based on the data sets exploring black holes. So nice. This one is from Abdel Rahman, and the other one is from Mona. This one on the right, and Rafif. This one is a work that was very, very interesting. They were exploring ways to interact with data that's just not focused on the screen, something that can take you away from the screen at the same time. So they came up with this project, which was they were trying to make people relate to the personal faces and to the personal experiences behind statistics. For example, when we see a graph that shows statistics, it's very hard for you to relate to that information as being something that comes from a person, something that is alive, something that has emotions. So what they did was they came up with this case of injustice, people that go to jail for wrong processes that don't work, and they end up in jail being innocent. So, and there's some organizations that are following these people, and there's some data sets, and they try to put the face to each case, but at the same time you see all of the group, but you can also see the person. So if you see each one of the squares on this image is a person. To each QR code, there is one person, one case. And so you can interact with the visualization with your phone. So when you read the QR code, it takes you to a page where you have the person, the picture of the person, the name of the person, all the information surrounding the case. So data is not just data, it's a constellation of experiences, human feelings, and so we don't forget. So that was pretty much it.
Thank you, Renata. I'm going to stop sharing and hand over to Hammad, who I understand has to leave in 10 minutes. So Hammad, are you there? Would you please talk to us about what you're doing, what your company is doing, and why you're interested in DIDI.
Sure. No, thanks, Hani. I assume you can all hear me okay. And apologies that I am a little bit short of time this evening, but no, pleasure to spend a few moments talking to everybody who's connected. And I'm sure if anybody has further questions after today and wants to reach out, you can connect through Hani and the rest of the team. And I'll be happy to either take further questions or give you some guidance if that's useful, because in I think almost a year that I've known Hani and the team at DIDI, it's been a wonderful relationship, and we're really pleased at Accenture Interactive, that I'll tell you a little bit about in a moment, to be working with this fabulous design school that we've got established here in Dubai. And so I'm very passionate about what I do and what we do in our business, but also about what the university is doing, and these kind of collaborations that bring industry and academia together. So what I thought I would do very quickly is I'll give you a little bit of an overview as to who we are and what we do, just because I think that helps to set a context as to, you know, when you study design, and certainly the kind of design that they're teaching at DIDI, where it might lead you. I mean, you know, the natural progression from your studies, of course, will be to enter industry. And you might be thinking what kind of careers or what kind of organizations are hiring this type of design that is being taught. So I think there's a good link with the type of work that I do, and I'll tell you a bit about that in a moment. Just as a way of introduction, so if you haven't heard of Accenture, you may well have done, but just quickly if you haven't, Accenture is one of the world's largest global management and technology consulting firms. So it's listed on the New York Stock Exchange. It's number 316 on the Fortune 500. It has $40 billion in revenue and 500,000 staff. So it's a very, very big and very, very serious firm. Within Accenture, we have an agency, a creative and design agency called Accenture Interactive, which is the part of the business that I am from. Now, I am a designer by trade. I've been a designer all my life since working and studying, so 20 years in industry now. And I work, you know, in this firm, which is the #1 digital agency in the world. And it's been built on acquiring talent from other creative studios that the business has bought, and also hiring organic talent and looking for emerging talent to continue that growth from our clients who are demanding ever creative and innovative services. So what we describe ourselves as doing is we design, build, communicate, and run experiences. So across the entire value chain of what an experience can be, that's basically what we do. So we do strategic design, we do product design, we do communications, we do digital marketing, and a lot of the things that you actually get taught at DIDI actually translate almost identically in some ways to the kind of work that we actually do for clients, and they pay us, of course, to do that. So what I thought I'd do very quickly. Hani, maybe if you can advise whether the video plays well or not, because otherwise I can skip over to a quick slideshow to show some work, because I think when we talk about design, visuals are very powerful. So let me just try and do that. Let me see if I can share my screen with you.
Share the screen, yeah.
Okay. Have you got a blank screen video there? Okay.
Yeah, now we do, yeah.
Okay.
Hammad, just to let you know, I think there's no audio.
Okay, I hope that played okay. I'll stop sharing my screen as well if I can. Okay, hopefully that played okay for you, but and also I hope that what you saw there was a huge amount of work that we've produced in our agency, but also I think some very similar visuals and interpretations of design media that you know kind of resonates with the examples the team from DIDI was sharing earlier, right? So things around some drone technology and digital product design and IoT and spaces and connected environments, and that's actually what we do. So this isn't just a case of creativity or design for the sake of it, but actually we're applying that kind of work in the real world. And you know, just to give you some context for what that means here in Dubai, you know, we're a 200 people studio here in Dubai, so we're the largest design business, I believe, in the region. And we are working, as you saw there, with the likes of Etisalat, who up until very recently were the highest valued brand in the region, which is now been overtaken by ADNOC, who are also our client. So they are the most valuable brand. So we work with both of them. We work with Mohammed bin Rashid Library, which is due to open very soon with a lot of its augmented reality experiences and the next generation of what libraries mean. We're the premier partner for Expo. So unfortunately delayed for a year, but when you eventually visit Expo, a lot of the visitor experience and a lot of the innovative technology that you will use with the groundbreaking app and some of the, again, the experiential technology we've put in there will have all been done by Accenture Interactive. And Infinity, we're doing car of the future buying and 3D modeling and interactive views of how to buy and configure your car online. We've done some technology design with Bose, with a Qibla finder where you can use wearable devices to find and track your motion and find things like prayer environments in new places that you visit. And the list just goes on, right? So we're actually doing this kind of work for, you know, some amazing brands, global brands, both internationally as well as, you know, here in this region. And we have studios like that all over the world. So, you know, when you graduate as a designer, we're definitely looking to hire that kind of talent because we're very busy and, you know, our clients are asking for more and more of what we do. So we definitely need, you know, really strong, really talented and hungry graduates to come from DIDI and come and join us in the team, join our local client projects, and then also have the opportunity to grow your international portfolio, right? So when you join a firm like Accenture Interactive, we're connected to a global hub of studios. We have a lot of opportunity to move around the world and to get exposed to a lot of what that involves. And, you know, firms like ours, the large firms, they are wanting, needing, and hiring design, right? So both us and our clients. So I think I can only speak for myself, which is design, you know, that really can give you a stimulating, a sustainable, and a very lucrative career, which was not always what was perceived to be the case, but is definitely the case now. You know, I started off very much as a graphic designer and in digital design, and worked in various different design studios over the years, eventually running my own agency. I then sold my agency to EY, which is another large consulting firm, and became chief design officer for them before now being a design evangelist at Accenture Interactive. So I know Hani talks a lot about future designs, right? So I like to play that kind of pioneering role a little bit myself. And so, you know, a design evangelist, and what I do now is I look at the breadth of what you probably saw in that video, which is, you know, a huge portfolio of skills it takes to make that happen, right? And it's not one team, it's not one brand, it's not one set of talent. But I mean, if you think about everything you learn at the DIDI curriculum, you know, that's a huge capability. And so what I do with all that capability is to evangelize that to clients, right? And help them understand how to get the best of that and engage the right talent to make that work. So, you know, learning it in the very modular way that the team is teaching is actually the way that industry wants it, right? We need specialist generalists, you know, because that's the way of the world now, right? We can't do one or the other, unfortunately. So you've got to be both, you know, very talented, but also very diverse. And Hani knows he has another great analogy that I stole from him, which is the pie-shaped designer, which I love. because we used to talk about T-shaped designers, right? You had to have the breadth and the depth. And now you need to have two depths, right? Because the world is ever demanding. And I think you guys, by attending this session today, hearing about what the guys are doing, and then, you know, I would assume at some point, you know, actually taking part in this kind of design education for yourselves, would certainly have an amazing experience doing that. But also I think it will lead you to great places. And I think that's the message I just wanted to share, right? Is having gone through it in my own way, and we're now at a point where it's in more demand and more exciting than it ever has been. So it really can take you to some phenomenal places, work on some amazing projects. So I think that's probably enough for me, and I've certainly gave you my key points. But if anyone has any questions now, I can take them. Otherwise, I'll hand you back to Hani and the team, and good luck to your next adventures, all of you.
Hammad, thank you very much. A quick question before you have to go. Thank you so much for being here. We know how crazy busy you are. In a nutshell, would you hire our graduates?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I said in my messages just now,
Yeah.
right? I think
yeah.
There are very few places that teach design in a way that is so diverse yet so focused around the business side of design, right? So we do growth strategy and business design, we do product design, we do innovation and experiential design, and you're getting exposed to so much of that, right? IoT, connected wearables, the whole thing. So I think, you know, graduates from DIDI would be an amazing supply of talent to places like us, and we're hungry to see these, you know, to see your graduates, right? We want them first because they're going to be, you know, in the market, and they're going to be in demand, I'm sure. So we pride ourselves in being the number one at what we do. So we're going to come looking for your best from day one. Absolutely.
Amazing. We have a quick question from the audience. They're asking if you provide internships for high school students as well.
I'm not sure if we've actually gotten around to high schools as yet, but I'm sure that's on the agenda. Now, you know, as you know, Hani, we're already working with you on getting an internship program up and running. Yes. From the people who are on the course, and that's both short-term ones through semester breaks, and also longer-term ones, which are part of your actual academic journey. So that's certainly something that's going to come up and running. There's another initiative that we've run with one of our sub-studios called Fjord. Fjord run an annual census that they call Fjord Trends every year. And they basically do some future gazing around what we think the future is going to look like from a design and innovation point of view. And one of the projects that we're already running with the IDI is to actually get the students to engage on those 7 trends and come up with concepts and prototypes. And so that's another way that we're already getting hands-on engagement between the students and our studios immediately. And when that kind of comes to fruition, that's going to get a global showcase. It's going to go back to the other Fjord Trends studios all over the world. And so, you know, the more that we see the interest from students, the more we're going to open that up. And we have got some conversations with some academic partnerships and some schools. Without naming names, we're very heavily engaged with the largest school group in the region at the moment, and we're looking at the future of design-led education with them at the moment. So there's going to be a lot more really exciting stuff.
Very exciting, very exciting. Thank you, Hammad. We took so much of your time, and we'll definitely stay in touch. And I have to say the Fjord Trends project has been a huge success with the students. They're so excited to work on it.
Good things as well.
Yeah, it's been very exciting. We're very, very lucky to be working with you. Thank you so much, Hammad.
Pleasure as always. I'm sorry I can't join for longer, but enjoy the rest of your session, guys. And I'll
thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hammad. It was really nice to work with you.
And you. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. Bye. So I'm going to switch screens. I need to get privileged to allow me to share screen if you can, Razan or Aisha, if you can allow me to share the screen. Oh yes, now it's working. Perfect, thank you. So I'm going to show you quickly to the parents and students who are interested. Because we are small, we can be very agile. And so this is an initiative that we developed immediately during the pandemic, which we are working on now. And you can see here all the different things that we are doing in order to respond to the pandemic. And what we pride ourselves is that we actually start from a student-centered approach. So on the left side are responding to students who say, hey, wait a minute, I don't want to be distracted. I want to continue my life as it was. I don't want this whole pandemic thing to affect me. And so we have a series of initiatives on the left which respond to students saying, I don't want any distractions. And on the right, we respond to students who are saying, helping the community will make me, and finding solutions for COVID-19 will make me motivated. So we immediately started an agile factory where students can transform their learning into solutions for COVID. We pioneered the program thanks to Simone and Heike, where the lab becomes available remotely to the students. And then on the bottom, we can see students who want immediate responses through hackathons, task forces, and finding ways to bridge communal activities. And the faculty is committed to support the students in all these three directions. So this really reinforces our agility and, more importantly, our empathy with the student mindset. And so basically, so DIDI is design plus the alphabet of things that we do with them, which includes technology, strategy, empathy, social activity. This is what makes us who we are. We're not just design, creating decorative and superficial things. We're actually solving complex problems using the latest technologies and the latest strategic thinking. So that's why we call this generation Pi, which Hammad touched on, where basically we are creating pie-shaped people, like the Greek letter pi, where they are deep in two skills, this hybrid education, and able to reach out across boundaries seamlessly without any issues through understanding and empathizing with other disciplines. And basically the pie-shaped people are learning to weave together complex combination of skills, whether they're design skills, the hard skills, or the soft skills, which are the life skills, to solve the world's wicked problems. And we saw that in a lot of the students' work. And basically, we call this generation superheroes because they're literally planting both feet in the ground to better adapt themselves to find future jobs, as Hammad was saying, and what we believe from what we've seen in their entrepreneurial spirit and their independent passion for solving these complex problems, we believe that this new generation that we're producing at DIDI will create the new jobs of the future. Thank you. This is my talk for you, and I give back the mic to the team at DIDI